Well, hello, hello, hello. Let's go on a trip across 1,000 dead worlds. Okay, it's episode 2. Actually, it's episode 1 because episode 0 was creating our antagonistic protagonist, Biff Buttcheeks, which I just realized as I was gearing up to try this game, get into actually playing, that that his name could be pronounced 2 different ways. One of them, sophomoric, very childish and thoroughly teenage boy Biff Buttcheeks. But then we could take it a step farther and add just a dash of adult pronunciation and call him Biff Buttcheese. So who knows? I think I'm going to stick with Biff Buttcheeks, but I have no idea how the NPCs that he runs into are going to handle that. We will find out. So, I am doing this theater of the mind. As you can see, I got my head somewhat straightened out. I've got roles on the left, character sheet on the right. I will not be scrolling through the game core book PDF on screen. You should go buy it. It's amazing. Nobody is paying me to say that. Nobody's asked me to say that. It's just an awesome game. And they deserve a little bit of your money, and you deserve a whole lot of fun you're going to get out of this. That being said, no scrolly on screen, plenty of frantic scrolly off screen. And we will we'll see where we go from here. I've got PDFs on my iPad, and that's where I'm going to be scratching out my notes and things that don't go on the character sheet, but on the, 7 or 8 secondary PDFs. There's non-player characters. There's a combat sheet. There's a site report. There's a site voyage log. There is a planet side grid. There is a combat grid. And then, of course, there's the reference manual. So, I will be going to town on that thing. Oh yeah, there's also a combat sheet. I can't remember if I said that or not. But anyway, other monitor, going through the PDF, iPad, scribbling notes, game screen here. And thanks to Microsoft Edge, I know, but the the vertical tabs got me. Split screen got me. I don't care at all about Copilot. I don't use it. But there you go. I like Edge. Chrome is just way too bloated, but I'm not here to rant about browsers. We're going to get Biff Buttcheeks on his way. So, quick reminder of a couple things about old Biff. He's a celebrity. He earned his place in Karum Station through illicit means. He set up a fraudulent foundation and got caught, but because of celebrity and some savvy money management, a whole bunch of the money was never found, and Biff just happened to know where it was. He's not a particularly nice human being. So his life-changing event was that he got caught in a big scandal regarding the fraudulent charity. And his drive for being on Karum Station and doing these insane things he's going to embark on is he's got a bit of wanderlust, and he's kind of tired of humanity. So he's going to go do some other stuff. You can see there he is 6'5". He is 201 pounds with an athletic build. And he's got rugged good looks. Not really. Look at that dude's charisma. He's average. But he's got red hair and freckles. When he's confident, he smiles a lot. When he's feeling shy or lacking confidence, he crosses his arms. And when he's bored, he toys with rings or other accessories. I said last time that he's a ring wearer, so he's got 2 or 3 on each hand. And when he gets frustrated, he shakes his head in constant disapproval. He is a male Karen. Okay, so there's that. You can see all the stats, and his talent is marksman. And here we go. I don't even know how to start this game, really. So let me scroll down just a little bit. Scrolling. I should have done this before starting. Oh, there's his nervous tick. Improving your character. Here we go. Excuse me. All the core mechanics. Okay, so the transport ship that Biff Buttcheeks rides upon. Oh, and for having a bunch of money that he made off with, he's only got 800 Drake coins, which could be a lot better. But it could be a lot worse too, so not complaining. Biff might be, but Pepperhead doesn't complain about that. Okay, so here we go. The ship transport that Biff rides upon pulls into the docking bay hangar and sets down. The support crews begin to do their thing, so there's a lot of activity scurrying around and people in uniforms doing their thing. I think somebody just set off a cannon outside. So there's that. The back of the transport mechanically lowers down, and you can see as it comes into, as the group that's waiting to get off comes into view, that there are 5 or 6 very disgruntled looking humans standing behind a Biff Buttcheeks who has sort of shoved and muscled his way into the front because he's an entitled idiot. So anyway, as soon as it hits the deck and stops moving, he is down the plank and going on his way, leaving behind the eye rolls, the whispered comments, and the disdain of other people who are just trying to live. Biff is handed a little, we'll call it a disposable data pad that it's like a thin piece of paper. I can't remember what sci-fi show that was on, but they had basically transparent pieces of, look like plastic, but the words, text would show up on them. Man, I wish I could remember what that was. It was a good show. At least I thought it was. You may never know. I don't know if anybody's ever going to listen to this. Anyway, Biff takes off down one of the halls, figures out he's going the wrong way because he was holding the data pad upside down, turns it right side up, and begins going the other way. And a couple of the people from the ship smirk as they wind up in front of him. He grumbles a little bit, but he doesn't attempt to get in front of them, really. He just wanted to get off of that transport. Those people, all they did was talk, ask him questions. One of them wanted an autograph. It was just a whole thing. He's glad to be off of there. And on he goes. Let's see. As I continue to scroll, I'm looking at combat here. That's not what I want. Here we go. All right. So, he is informed that he needs to report to Karum Station's mission control within 24 hours, and that his first launch will be 24 hours after he reports to mission control. He is to make some choices beforehand, choices like the size of starship that he wants. There's a one person, that's the KRM-01. The circle is what it's referred to as. There's a 3-person KRM-03. You may be seeing a trend here. That's referred to as the triangle. And the 5-person KRM-05, the pentagon. He is reminded or informed that a starship must be fully staffed to be approved for launch. And he's got some other options there. He sees that he can either choose a known destination, one that other people have visited before, because he's visited none, or he can choose an unknown destination. It is indicated that the former is safer since the crew will have information on the site and the voyage there, but the payout will be less because it's already been gone through at least partially. So he starts mulling those things over and fights with himself a little bit. He really, really, really doesn't want to share another ship with a bunch of people, but he's also not particularly stupid, and he thinks there's probably some amount of wisdom in going with people, so he's gonna go. Excuse me. He decides he's going to go with, well, you know what? We'll just do. Excuse me again. I don't know what my problem is. Evens. I don't do high-low. Evens is going to be the triangle, and odds will be the pentagon. Ooh, great. Now I have the hiccups for no reason whatsoever. He's going to go with the triangle, so that's cool. He's going to need to find 2 crew members. So he makes some selections about the ship and stuff like that as he wanders down towards mission control. But first, before he gets to mission control, he sees on the map that pops up that he's in proximity of his room. And he decides that's the way to do things. So he goes to his room, which he does have to pay for. And he's going to swipe his card there. I don't know anything about how much that costs him. So we're going to try and figure that out. But he spends a few Drake coins. I'll just refer to them as Drakes. He spends whatever Drakes he needs to for his room, and he dumps his bags there. And he sits down and relaxes for just a little bit. After all, he's got 24 hours to report to mission control. So he kicks back for a little bit, maybe watches a movie that he starred in because he's that guy. And Eventually, he visits the head in his room and then goes off and reports to mission control. Karum Station, I'll bet it's here. Just give me a minute. Okay, should have read this sooner. Didn't even realize that there was going to be information like that there. So the first thing that usually shocks tourists and new recruits is Karum Station's vibrance. There's always some kind of party going on. Somebody's laughing, crying, or singing. Always someone whispering stories and rumors. It's a surprisingly hedonistic place bustling with activity. He's going to like that. Like the city of Valencia during the 16th century when it was one of the world's busiest ports, the station's people have a myriad of backgrounds and stories, and every deep diver knows their next mission could be their last, so most try to live life to its fullest when off mission. The station does utilize 24-hour days or cycles and 7-day weeks, following Earth's standard Western calendar. The KSA allows all kinds of religious festivities, so it's normal to see small ethnic groups of divers quietly celebrating their traditions. Nothing brings people together like the humbling prospect of an early death, so overall the station is a welcoming and tolerant place. Excuse me. So he sees a lot of that. There's really colorful. There are lots and lots of shops because, money. There's a lot of colorful clothing. There's a lot of partying going on. He seems to, on his short walk to his quarters, he passes. Let's see. He passes. We're not 100. Oh, he only passes one bar slash dance club, but there's crazy music coming out of there, lots of people, and he thinks, wow, this might be the place to stay. All right, so we got downtime activities here. We're not going to do that yet. Hold on. Random NPC crew members. All right. So he makes his way to mission control and essentially checks in there. And at some point, not at some point, he informs them that he is who he is. And they check records and say, you've already chosen your ship. That's good. A couple other things. Let's say he's talking to a portly lady named Gladys, and I'll attempt to role play that out. So he approaches, and she initially doesn't look up at all from what she's doing, and just says, you can check in on the data pad there, just find your name and tap it. And Biff feels slightly put out because she didn't look up and hopefully notice he is who he is. But he gives a terse, somewhat snotty, good afternoon to you too, and starts scrolling through. And he finds Butt Cheeks B, and he taps it. And the screen comes up, and you can see, or he sees, that the choices that he's made on the ship, and a couple other things are already populated there, and it's at that point that Gladys stops doing what she's doing, and she looks up at him for the first time, and Biff is perhaps somewhat taken aback as he notices that both of her eyes are cybernetic, and she apparently notices that and says, "Oh, don't worry about these. I was going blind, so they put these in for me. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. I can mask them if you like." And he says, "No, that's okay. That's okay." At which point she says, "You're Biff Butt Cheeks," and he. His chest puffs out a little bit, and he says, "Why, yes, I am. You are." As he looks down at her name tag, scrolling across the left side of her jacket, and says, "And you are Gladys, I see." And she kind of gushes a little bit. "Yes, my name is Gladys. I'll be helping you today. I see here that you're brand new. Do you know any crew members that you're going to take along?" And Biff says, "No, I just got here and I haven't met anybody, so I don't know." And she says, "No problem. We can assign you crew members. It's not going to be an issue. And we'll do that now. I will start doing that now anyway. So we're going to need 2, and we're going to roll a d6 for each of them. There's a table on page 358 of the core rulebook. And we're not going to sit around and distribute points or anything like that. We're just going to roll it randomly. So we're going to do this twice. He gets a 5 and a 1. So the first one, as I fill this out, or start filling this out, the first one, the 5, has a strength of 10, dex of 8, con, will, and int of 10, and a charisma of 12. And the other random crew member was a 1, and they're going to have 12, 10, 12. As I pause to write that. Oops. That was a 1. Sorry. 12, 10, 12, 8, 8, 10. 8, 8, 10. Excellent. Secondary attributes. NPCs, they start, everybody can take, generally speaking, 3 wounds and they die. NPCs also can sustain 3 wounds. They have 2 points of defense that can be subtracted from incoming attacks each round, just like some creatures can. So we will write defense 2. Defense 2. Stress. NPCs gain 1 stress each time a PC gains any amount of stress. There are funny rules that we're going to deal with regarding stress as we play the game. As you may have noticed, you didn't, but I did because I'm reading it here. NPCs don't have stamina. Instead, they can perform 1 action and 1 move each turn. Biff will have to spend stamina to do things. NPCs also have no luck and are not affected by emotional states. All right, skills. NPCs have no skills. So they use their attributes to perform skill checks. There's either a gunfight or some fireworks going on outside. My guess is fireworks. So, strength, dex, will, intelligence. That might be good to know. Oh my gosh, the dog. Yep, there he goes. Talents for new NPCs. Pick or roll one talent from the talents table. It's a D20. We're going to do it randomly. Sarge. That's my dog's name. Oh, and that one. All right, but we weren't doing anything crazy, so it's not going to be a big deal. So, one of them is going to have talents. We're going to say the one is aim. And then the 10 is frugal. They can make each ration last 2 weeks instead of 1. That's kind of cool. Might come in handy. NPC mannerisms. Although it's unnecessary, we recommend using NPC tables from... Stay out of this. Although it's not required, they recommend using NPC tables from Chapter 5 to give your NPCs some personality, backstory, motivations, and goals. As always, you can roll, choose, or decide it all yourself. And we will come back to page 362 to figure out gear bundles and things like that. So for now, let's go to Chapter 5. This doesn't actually number the chapters in the table of contents. We're going to assume character creation is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if this is it or not. The heading of that is the galaxy is full of horrors. So that's chapter 6. Okay, let's get scrolled up a little bit. Isn't this fun? Super fun. Reaction relations. All right, I'm seeing tables, NPC details. Roll 1 to 3 dice on the following tables when you need to find out how an NPC is feeling. All right, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Ooh, names. We're going to do all of this randomly. NPC motivation. NPC morale. Whew, there's a lot of scrolling. Surprise events. Complication qualifier. Prediction subroutine. I may have gone past it. Asking questions. Yep, I went past it. Alright, so we'll scroll back down to where that starts. NPC behavior. No, that's different. Knowing how other non-player characters, especially NPC crew members, behave or think is a crucial element of any good RPG. Random tools to get an inkling of what's going on in their minds. All right, we need some D100s. Okay. Notes, details. I'm not telling you what these are. We're going to just role play it out. 94. Ooh. That may... Come on. That may not be a thing that comes into play immediately, once for each column. Starting attitude. All right, now I need a D6. Oh, 2 6s. Oh, okay. Starting attitude. I suppose that just goes in the notes. Writing. Excellent. NPC information. Following tables determine initial blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Okay. Now we need some 20s. $19. Wow, I needed to learn how to write smaller. All right, and then a 15. What's the 15? Let's see. Okay, so there's that. And then starting attitude. I need a D10 or 2. An 8 and a 4. Oh, wow. One of those, I'm going to, well, let's just do another D10. Okay. Whoops. Sorry. All right. So there's that. Get over here. Do, 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 do. Do, do. All right. We don't need to get into that. Motivation. All right. We need some more D10s. A 10 and a 6. Ooh, that was a lot to write. All right, and then a 6. Oh, if you could see my chicken scratch. I'll probably do screenshots of this and include it. Alrighty, now we gotta figure out stupid throat. Now we gotta figure out more about him. A 4 and a 3. Okay. I think I'm actually going to fudge that a little bit just because I think it'll offer more role-playing opportunities. And should have done these differently. I should have written them down differently now that I see that. And now we need some more D6s. A 4 and a 2. Okay, starting to get some pictures here. Descriptors. Need a couple of 100s. And the 26. A 26? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Time for names. 43 and 9. Okay. Over here. 43. That's funny. And 9. That's not a dude's name. So let's see what 90. Yeah, all right. And surnames. 3 and a 69. And then, okay. Hopefully the mute worked there and you didn't just hear me cough. And then a nature. Ooh, so we need a couple D10s. A 3 and a 6. Hope I can remember that I'm doing 2 of these on the same line. And then, okay, that was that. These are coming together. Quirks. Okay. 20s D. 20s 15. And then, okay, so that was that, and I like it. Turns out I can't write and don't know how to spell sometimes. Sweet. All right. And we need to find out how they're feeling in general or about a particular situation. You know what? Nothing crazy is going on right now, so we're just going to let that roll. All right, NPC character relations. When your crew contains NPCs, you can use the following tables to determine a relationship to each other or even non-crewmate NPCs. This creates a more three-dimensional character. Blah, blah, blah. All right, we need a couple of 20s again. Got a 15 and a 7. And I've completely filled up my notes lines there, so we're just going to write it somewhere else. Give me a sec. And the 7. Interesting. And just because I think we're going to need it at some point in the future, we're going to do okay. And woo. I may not post these. Nobody's going to be able to read it. All right, and we will come back to that later. I need to remember page 250, but first we need to get back to 360, 362, something like that. Yep. Okay. Sweet. Starting gear. Pick one of the starting gear bundles. We're almost there, guys. Gear. All right. We are going to do do-do-ba-do-do. Yeah. Wow. Okay. cool. I like it. And well, I've already found one thing that I wish were slightly... No, it's fine. It's fine. Learn how to interpret things, dude. Jeez. I was gonna not complain, but mention that the NPC sheet didn't provide enough slots for gear, but it does. I'm just goofy and haven't played this before, so now I know. And what is that one gonna have? Let's do... I like that name. That's cool. I think there's a lot of writing in this game, which is okay. It's fine. And cool. All right, so I've got their starting gear taken care of. As described on page 115. Ooh. I just found something I like in the PDF. You can't tell it's a link, but anytime it gives a page number, it's a link to the page. So that's cool. Split among... All right, purchasing new gear. Okay, cool. Gear is divided into several categories. Purchasing gear. Gear availability. Eee. Holy cow, okay. So, basic gear is always available at Karum Station. The KSA has plenty of oxygen pellets and service pistols, but each piece of rarer, more limited gear is only available for purchase if the player rolls a 15 or higher on a D20. Flat check. Wow. Fortunately, characters may push this result in their favor with a bit of cash. Spending 50 drakes grants a cumulative +1 to the final result. This can be done several times. Yes, this means a player can spend 700 drakes to ensure that they get it. Spending represents bribes, paying off black market contacts, or any other shady deals a character can make to get their hands on the good stuff. Gold tier divers have an additional bonus. And then there's experimental gear. That looks super fun. Okay. Oh, that's nice. I like the, they have what look like, oh, I don't know what to call it. Logistical drawings is the only thing that's coming to mind of the weapons and stuff like that. So that's freaking cool. All right, it did say something about page 115. Basic gear bundle. Let's look at that. Choosing supplies for an expedition. There is. All right, so we'll try and role play this out a little bit. So he gets checked in. He schmoozes Gladys a little bit. She has seen several of his movies. He's kind enough. Biff is nice enough to give her an autograph, and even goes so far as to say, "Hang on to that. If I die, it's going to be worth a fortune." And she takes it and says, "Oh, I hope you don't die, but how much do you think it would be worth?" Never, you know what? Never mind. And he seems slightly put out at that, just a little bit. All right. NPC sheet looks to be complete. And okay, she says, report back here tomorrow morning and you will meet your crew and you can purchase gear at that time. And he says, purchase gear? Oh yeah, well, it's not really buying. You don't get to keep it. It's more like a lease. And we do it that way so that a lot of the gear is always available. It helps us cut down on the cost and pass those savings on to you, Diver. And she winks at him and he hesitates for a moment and then gives an exaggerated wink back. Says, "Okay, Gladys, thanks. Where's the nearest bar?" She says, "Oh, you just go, you know what? I'll send it to your little data thing." And she hits a couple of buttons and bloop, up on his thing is, excuse me, pops a map that has essentially a path laid out for him to take. And let's see, where was that? There was somewhere in here. It's Karum Station. It's Karum Station. Karum Station. Hello, Karum Station. There's an overview. That's probably where it's going to be, is the overview. Yes, there's an... Yeah. Come on. Downtime activities, page 332. I better make note of that. He is gonna go do a little carousing because that's the kind of guy he is. Okay, so let's do 2d6. Wait, I don't know how that's gonna handle this. Yeah, that's what I was. So we're just going to roll it twice because this is a D66 table. So 44. Do. All right. So he makes his way to the bar that she mapped out, and it is called. Let's see. Karum Station Blender is what it's called. So he makes his way to the Karum Station Blender, and when he gets there, he finds out that this place is a little eccentric. It is packed. Lots of colorful outfits again. Sees a lot of different hairstyles, a lot of different cultures in here partying it up. And it looks to be like it's done in the style of an underground speakeasy. And he stands there for a minute before going in and thinks, is this really, do I want to go in here or do I want to try and find something else? But then he sees all the drinks being served at the bar and decides that, yeah, this is the place he wants to be. So he walks in, and as he walks in, as soon as he passes the threshold, the lighting changes. It's got a smoky air to it, and the lighting is warm. So it's not like red lighting, but it is kind of on the orange-yellow side as far as light temperature goes. And as soon as he passes the threshold, it changes from that to bright white. Like bright white light for just a millisecond. And everybody turns around and faces him. Everybody in the bar, the whole place. Conversation stops, and everybody gives a cheer. Hey, welcome! And then immediately everybody goes back to what they were doing. And Biff doesn't know what to think of this. So he stands there for a minute and kind of hesitantly waves at nobody in particular because everybody's gone back to ignoring him, and saunters up to the bar. The bartender is a robot, and it's on a track that is attached to the bar, and it just zips down, makes the curve to the end of the bar where he is, and says, "What will you have?" And he says, "Give me an old-fashioned and make it neat." I've never made an old-fashioned. I don't know if neat is an option for that, but that's what he orders. And the thing sets a glass out, and from its fingers spews some various liquids into a glass, and then it says 2 drakes, so he pays the 2 drakes. We'll get to the other. I still don't know how much money his room costs. Let me try and find that out right quick. Okay. No, let's not search on fee. I think that was maybe the wrong thing to do. Wow, room might also be the wrong thing to look for. Let's do quarters. Personal quarters, located on the inner ring. Ooh, all right. Oh, he also took a shower. And the shower delivers 2 40-second sprays with an interval of 2 minutes in between. So it wets you down, you lather up, then it hits you again to rinse you off. You are entitled to 1 use in each 3-cycle period. Additional uses will be charged against your credit balance of 5 drakes per shower. All right, so he's got himself a shower. Basic. Okay, this is all done by the week, and it's on page 351. Basic is 20 drakes per week. Basic amenities, it's like a hotel room, it looks like. He'd like to go for the gold, but that's 100 drakes a week. Instead, he chooses the standard, which is 50 drinks a week. Personal room and unrestricted access to the library, gym, and virtual shooting range. Food is a combo of NutriPaste and actual meals. That'll be interesting. Most divers try to maintain this level of lifestyle. The standard tier includes a level 3 medical insurance policy. Well, that's cool. All right, so he pays his 50 for the week, which puts him down to that. And thinks to himself, yeah, it's a good thing. I need to get busy. But then he goes out and parties. And we're going to say he chats up a few people, gets miffed that nobody knows him, and drowns his sorrows to the tune of 9 drinks. And the rest of the evening becomes a blur, and he spends it raucously. And all right, so when the morning comes and he wakes up face down in the garden, and he's laying on top of, I navigated away from the page, but he wakes up laying on top of some flowers that look like they cost more money than he probably has. So he gets up and he stumbles off to his room at some point and passes out again. And he barely makes it to mission control at his appointed time, and only does so because he gets a wake-up call. That is an automated message that informs him he has 5 minutes to report to mission control. So he gets up and he brushes his teeth real fast, and off he goes, smoothing his hair as he walks briskly down the hall. And he gets there just in time, walks in, sees Gladys. She's there again. And he comes face to face with her and says, "Okay, I'm here." He's got a bit of a hangover. What's the info on my crew? And Gladys says, "Well, they are sitting right over there." And she points to a little lounge area that currently only has 2 people sitting in it. One of them is a young female who has dirty blonde, long hair that looks like it's supposed to be tied back in a ponytail, but it's messy. It looks like she got caught in the wind, which is weird because there's no wind here. So she's got little flyaway hairs going everywhere. And she is chatting animatedly with a middle-aged man who has he looks very tanned. And he says, "Okay, thank you," and walks over to them and introduces himself. Says, "Hi, my name is," and the girl says, "You're Biff Buttcheeks." And he says, "Yeah, I am. Could you maybe say that a little softer, please?" And she says, "Oh yeah, sorry. Hit it a little hard last night, did you?" And he nods while rubbing his temples. And she stands up and says, "My name is Nikita Rad," and it's a name he recognizes from social media. And he says, "Oh, I've seen your videos." And she says, "Oh, cool, that's great." She seems totally unabashed and unashamed by this, but he's looking her up one side and down the other because she is famous on social media for modeling swimsuits, and she's not shy at all. We'll just leave it at that. And the guy, the middle-aged man she was talking with, stands up and excuse me. He looks slightly slightly embarrassed, finding out that she's on social media, but it's pretty clear to Biff that this dude has no idea what she does, but social media is kind of a dumpster fire. There's not a lot of what this guy would consider good stuff probably on social media, but he very quickly recovers and introduces himself and says, "Hi, my name is Poldy Bush," and extends a hand to Biff, who reluctantly takes it, and the guy's got a nice firm handshake, and Biff does not. Biff looks mildly, it's not quite disgust, but it's not real far off, as he doesn't hold the handshake for very long, and unconsciously rubs his hand against his thigh as if he's wiping it, just a little bit, but says, "Nice to meet you, Mr. I'm sorry, did you say your name? Can I call you Biff?" And Biff nods and says, "Yeah, that's fine." So they meet and they talk a little bit, and both of them are very friendly towards Biff, probably for different reasons. Poldy doesn't seem to know who Biff is, and just seems to be a nice guy. And Nikita definitely knows who Biff is. In fact, she asks him if he'll sign an autograph and gushes about how excited she is, and she's fully committed to this endeavor, and she'll be, her words, the best crew member ever, and says, "Maybe I can even be your first mate," and winks at him. And Biff winks back and says, "Yeah, maybe we can figure that out." Poldy looks embarrassed, and his cheeks turn kind of red, and busies himself doing something else. And so they sit around and talk for a little while as the mission is prepped, and Biff, I forgot to say, chose he wanted to be cautious and take crew. He doesn't want to fly solo, but he wants to get this done. He needs some cash. So he chose to go to an unexplored site. So they talk about that for just a little bit, and then they split as Poldy says, "Well, I'll see y'all tomorrow shortly before we launch," and he takes off, and Nikita says, "Well, I think I'm going to go get a drink. Would you care to join?" And at the mention of drinks, sorry, another yawn, Biff almost has an accident as he coughs a little bit, as he's potentially choking back a little bit of bile, and says, "Yeah, maybe another time. I want to be on the top of my game for this, so I'm gonna go back to my quarters and get some sleep." And she says, "Oh, you don't look well. Would you like me to walk you there?" And he says, "No, that's fine. I'll see you tomorrow." And he wanders off, leaving her standing there looking slightly despondent and possibly a little rejected. And he goes back and passes out after taking some medicine and getting a drink of water. And the next 24 hours is a blur, and Then they meet back. All about blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I'm now reading again. So the crew is ready. They report to mission control. They've made their... Biff has made the choice on the ship and the crew. So a team leader must be chosen, and Biff is dead set that he's going to be the team leader because he's a celebrity and he knows best. The other two they're down with that. They're very agreeable. Excuse me. So the crew is encouraged to listen to Biff as long as his orders are reasonable and for the greater good of the team and the mission. So the KRM-3, or the KRM-03, the triangle, it seats 3, and it has... Sorry. It has, we'll call it inventory slots of 150, and after the KSA pushes a bunch of stuff into it, there are 96 slots available for various things, primarily loot, data crystals, alloy cubes, which are the primary things that they're going to be trying to collect aside from information. But there's also scrap that they can get, and it is the KRM-03 is sharp and triangular in shape. It is 60 feet long and 40 feet wide on its widest side. It has no discernible surface features other than a single aperture in the back side. And the purpose of that, they find out, they are told, is unknown. Nobody knows what that's for. So they have to name their spaceship. And let's see. We are going to need a D20 and D100. So, their ship is named after they have a little bit of a powwow about it. The Red Courage. Let me go to is there a ship name or a ship sheet? There's the combat sheet, the NPC sheet, the site report sheet, the site voyage log. Maybe that's it. Let's look at that. Well, there's a site name, but there's a blank space here. So we're going to use that and say, whoops, the Red Courage is the ship name. So that is chosen. Excuse me. Now let's get down to schedule missing, choosing supplies. All right. Choosing supplies for an expedition. KSA grants each crew member a basic survival package of rations and oxygen, but crews who can afford the space and cost usually pack extra provisions, medical supplies, weapons, scanners, and other useful devices. Any extra purchases of food and water supplies are not refunded, even if they're not used during a mission. The only exception to this is if the site has nothing of interest, forcing the team to return empty-handed. So the basic survival package includes 1 level B hazmat suit, 1 vac suit, 5 oxygen pellets, 5 batteries, 1 alprazolam pill, one KSA service pistol, and one combat knife. And then there's a KSA crew package, one per crew. Includes a survey scanner, a medical kit, a thruster pack, a survival kit, 6 oxygen tanks per crew member, and 6 supplies, food and water, per crew member. And it's my understanding, and this is how we're going to play it right now, that each one of those gives a week's worth of food and water. So each crew member has 6 weeks of food and water in the KSA crew package. I don't know where to write any of that down. So we are just going to do this. Hang on. That is page 115. Let's see. We'll say gear packages is on page 115. Cool. All diver suits are equipped with a gear harness, an oxygen pellet converter, 2 shoulder-mounted LEDs, and internal comms. So we're just going to get right to it here. I still have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm having fun. So the 24 hours goes by. The crew spends a little time chit-chatting. The crew also gets their gear in order. And let's see, we're traveling to a site. No, we're traveling to an unexplored site. Is there? I got some random tables about stuff here. Ooh, don't want to do that. All right, we're just going to say they get in and they go. Because it's been an hour and 17 minutes. Okay. Let's see. Random travel events. Voyage time rules on page 126. Voyage time. All right. Space voyages take, I don't know that I explained this in the last episode 0, and I know I haven't explained it here. So Earth is kind of a crap hole. Karum Station is really cool, but it is on an asteroid. Humanity built the station on an asteroid that was found, and this asteroid was crammed full of alien spaceships, the 1, 3, and 5 crew variety. There were no aliens, so they either, lost this one, or the aliens died off who knows how long ago, whatever. But anyway, it was crammed with all these spaceships, so humanity started figuring stuff out. We're apparently enough like the aliens that we can, on a rudimentary level, operate the ships. And what I mean by rudimentary level is we all get in, we all get sat down. You push a button and the ship takes you to a place. Have no idea how far away it is, have no idea where it is. The ship just goes, and however long it takes is how long it takes. And per the rules here, It says space voyages take 1 to 7 weeks, with each crew member consuming 1 oxygen and 1 supply each week. The duration of a spaceship's trip to its destination is determined as follows. Reaching any destination takes a minimum of 1 week. At the end of the week, roll a destination check. There is a 40% chance, 10% each week, plus 10% each week, that the ship arrives at its destination. Roll each week until the destination check is a success. The odds reach 100% or all crew runs out of reserves and dies. And you can ration. There are rules regarding that. So we are going to figure out how long this takes. 40% chance. So I need a D100 for week 1. Well, that ain't it. So they're on this ship. It's not, it's 60 feet long, but there's not a ton of room. So they're getting really cozy with each other over the first week. And let's see here. Biff finds out that Nikita, obviously he already knew she was friendly. Her hair, no matter what she does to it, is always messy. She talks a good game. She seems to be very brave. She is highly motivated, works out every day, wears very little while she does it, which drives both of the males on the ship crazy for 2 different reasons. Poldy, he gets very embarrassed when she's doing it. She don't care, and Biff can't keep his eyes to himself. She seems to like that as well. She offers Biff an item of basic gear before they get underway. We'll get to that in a minute. So she offers him some gear. She seems to be very altruistic. So she's willing to do the food prep and the cleanup for both of them, for all 3 of them, rather. And she just seems as happy as she can be to do that. So she seems like a nice young woman who has very few inhibitions and no real concept of the word escapes me. So we'll just go with piety. That's not really what I was trying to get to, but it's what it is. Getting old sucks. So he finds out over the first week that she's doing this primarily because her family has experienced a financial change. She doesn't really go into detail that first week, but Biff kind of puts 2 and 2 together because it's really easy. She wouldn't be doing this if they struck it rich doing something. So there's that. Poldy. Poldy is a teacher at heart, if not previous career, and he doesn't offer his previous career in conversation, but if Biff had to guess, he would say teacher. He also offers Biff, because Biff is kind of lamenting about his money woes. So Biff offers him that's funny. Biff offers him 1 Drake. or I'm sorry, Poldy offers Biff one drake, which Biff accepts and attempts quite poorly to seem thankful or happy about that. You know, let's roll that. Let's see how good he does at that. So we're going to roll a d20. We're looking for, he's going to roll the d20 and add his manipulation to it. And if the roll is 20, or if the total is 20, then he does a good job. He does a terrible job. He takes it and says something really snide, which Poldy appears to take in stride. It's just water off a duck's back for him. So that's week 1, and they go down in supplies during that time. So they are at 6 oxygen and 6 food and water. All right, let's do this again. Week 2, they're at 50%, so 50 or lower. Hey, look at that. They reach their destination after 2 weeks, so they have used 2 of their supplies, so they're down to 4 food and water and O2. All right. So no rationing required, but there are some rolls that need to be made here. Doo-doo-doo-be-doo-be-doo. Space anomaly. Ship malfunction. Oh, I could have done that. We'll do that for whether or not the crew knows how long the trip lasts, something will always go sideways. Each week has a cumulative 20% chance of a random travel event. Checked at the end of each week. Excuse me. All right, so let's do this. Week 1. Uh-oh, something happens. So when an event occurs, roll a d4 to determine the type. Aboard a circle, treat a social result as a mental or physical issue. We're not on a circle. Okay, so the d4. We need a d4. A 2. Uh-oh, it's a ship malfunction. So, at the end of week 1, I think we need a d10 here. Oh, it's an 8. Oh, wow. Okay. A malfunction with the rudimentary onboard kitchen. And it irremediably, I didn't even know that was a word, ruins D4 supplies. So let's find out how bad things get here. 2. So week 1 costs them 3. Week 2 costs them an additional. But we need to find out if there's any kind of malfunction. Whoops. We need to find out if anything goes sideways in week 2. So we're up to 40%. Oh, what am I doing? D100. Oh, geez. So it's another malfunction. Not a 1D14. Oh, it's another ship malfunction. So now let's roll the D10 again. This is cool. A 3. Sensors are producing false readings. They say you exited warp space. Well, so during week 2, everybody freaks out and they're woken up as the sensors start producing these readings saying that they've exited warp space. But I'm going to say that this is not actually a malfunction because we already know they reached their destination at the end of week 2. So they find that they have exited warp space. There's nothing wrong with the sensors. They've arrived at the site. Arriving at the expedition site. Arrival D100. This is the arrival table I'm rolling on, which is located on page 125. Okay. 88. They drop out of warp space, and everybody freaks out, and they wake up, and they're all scrambling a little bit, and they figure out, no, nothing's wrong with the sensors as they look out the viewing port. I don't know what to call it. They look out into space to see that the ship is approaching an asteroid. And it's an asteroid that looks to have some construction on it. And sure enough, it's an RSI. That was the name of the aliens. It's an RSI structure that the ship approaches and docks at. So they pull up to and enter the asteroid into this base or site. And as the ship sets down, we are now ready to continue the adventure with the site expedition. But I've gone an hour and a half and my voice is continuing to give me problems. In fact, it's getting a little bit worse. I'm going to have to figure something out on that. Excuse me. So we will pick this up next time as Biff Buttcheeks, Nikita Rad, and Poldy Bush get their first taste of running around where maybe they shouldn't be, trying to get rich, getting old alien crap. And that will be fun. I'm going to look the book over a lot closer. Hopefully. Life is busy. Hopefully. In the meantime. So there it is. Across 1,000 Dead Worlds is underway, stepping off the ship into the unknown. Next time. See ya.